Close your eyes and let the weight of the day melt into the shadows. What if the greatest mysteries of our world aren't puzzles to be solved, but lullabies to be felt? Tonight, we aren't seeking answers in the cold light of day. Instead, we are drifting back through the mist of time to the places where history whispers and the unexplained finds its rest. From the silent stone giants of lonely islands to the rhythmic humming of the deep earth, join me on a journey where the unknown is not a fear, but a soft velvet blanket. Breathe in the mystery and let the secrets of the past guide you into a deep, timeless sleep. Close your eyes now. Let the world outside your window begin to fade into a soft, distant blur. The sounds of the modern day, the hum of traffic, the distant sirens, the clicking of keyboards, and the relentless glow of digital screens are all beginning to recede. They are like a tide pulling away from the shore, leaving behind a vast, quiet expanse of cool, wet sand. You are here now. You are safe. You are still. Take a deep, slow breath in. Feel the cool air fill your lungs, and as you exhale, feel the weight of your shoulders drop. Feel the tension in your jaw dissolve. Imagine that the room around you is growing dim, bathed in the soft amber glow of a flickering candle that has been burning for centuries. This is not the sharp, cold light of the present. This is the warm, golden light of history. In our modern world, we are told that every question must have an answer. We are taught that the unknown is a problem to be solved, a puzzle to be conquered. But tonight, we are going to let go of that burden. We are going to embrace the mystery. Think of the unexplained not as a source of confusion, but as a gentle hush, a soft blanket of mist that covers the parts of our story we weren't meant to see yet. There is a profound peace in not knowing. There is a deep rhythmic comfort in the realization that the world is much larger, much older, and much more mysterious than our daily worries. As you lie there, imagine the walls of your room are slowly transforming. The modern paint and drywall are softening, turning into the dark, polished oak of an ancient library. The floor beneath you is no longer carpet or tile, but heavy, cool stone, softened by thick, hand-woven Persian rugs that muffle every sound. You are walking down a long, infinite hallway of time. The air here smells of old parchment, dried lavender, and the faint, sweet scent of beeswax candles. Listen to the silence of this place. It isn't an empty silence. It is a full, heavy silence, the kind of quiet you find in a forest after the first snowfall. It is the silence of secrets kept for 1,000 years. As you walk, you see tall, arched windows that look out not onto a city street, but onto a landscape of blue hills bathed in a permanent twilight. The moon is full and silver, hanging low in the sky like a heavy lantern, casting long, peaceful shadows across the landscape of history. We often think of history as a series of dates and battles, of loud events and famous names. But the history we are entering tonight is the history of the quiet spaces. It is the history of the things that were left behind, the things that were whispered in the dark, and the things that were never meant to be explained. Think of the ancient mariners who looked up at the same stars you see tonight. They didn't have maps for every ocean or names for every island. To them, the horizon was a beautiful mystery. They drifted on the dark velvet of the sea, lulled to sleep by the rhythm of the waves, content to know that some parts of the map were simply marked with the unknown. Tonight, we are those mariners. We are letting the current of time carry us away from the shore of the known and into the soft,
comforting fog of the unexplained. Can you feel the rhythm of time? It isn't the frantic ticking of a digital clock. It is the slow, steady pulse of the earth itself. It is the way the mountains grow over millions of years, the way the rivers carve their paths through stone, and the way the stars rotate in their slow celestial dance. When we look at the unexplained phenomena of our past, we are looking at that pulse. We are looking at the fingerprints of a world that doesn't need our permission to be magical. As we prepare to journey through the specific mysteries of our world, the silent stones, the ghost ships, and the unreadable manuscripts, notice how your body feels even heavier now. Your breathing is slow and regular. Each breath is like a wave washing over a smooth stone. The modern world is now 1,000 miles away, a different lifetime, a different dream. You are grounded in the ancient earth.
The mysteries we will explore tonight are not ghost stories meant to startle. They are peace stories. They are reminders that humans have always lived alongside the unknown. Our ancestors sat by their fires, looking out into the dark woods, and they didn't feel fear. They felt wonder. They knew that the darkness held secrets that were older than their villages, and they found comfort in that. They knew they were part of something vast. Imagine yourself sitting by one of those ancient fires now. The wood is crackling softly, a low rhythmic snap and pop. The smoke rises in thin silver ribbons, disappearing into the vast, star-speckled sky. You are wrapped in a heavy cloak of wool, feeling the warmth of the fire on your face while the cool night air brushes against your skin. This is the state of mind we will carry with us, warm, protected, and curious in the most peaceful way possible. In the chapters to come, we will travel to the lonely islands of the Pacific, where stone giants watch the horizon in eternal silence. We will visit the deserts where rocks move of their own accord, writing their own history in the sand while the world sleeps. We will look at books written in languages that no tongue has ever spoken, and we will listen to the low, humming song of the earth itself. But for now, just stay here in this transition. Stay in this gentle hush. Feel the way the history of the world is like a great, slow-moving river. You don't need to swim against it. You don't even need to steer the boat. You only need to lie back, look up at the passing clouds of centuries, and let the water carry you. The unknown is not a void. It is a garden that grows in the shade. It is the soft moss on the north side of a tree. It is the mist that clings to the valley floor at dawn. It is the part of the story where we are allowed to rest because we realize we don't have to have all the answers. The universe is holding those answers for us, keeping them safe, tucked away in the folds of time like pressed flowers in an old book. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, let the gentle hush of the unknown be your sanctuary. There is nothing you need to do. There is nowhere you need to be. The year is no longer important. The time is no longer relevant. You are simply a soul drifting through the beautiful, quiet museum of the past. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. The candles in the library are burning low, and the ink on the pages of history is dry. We are ready to begin our journey into the specific wonders of the world, but we will carry this stillness with us. We will walk through the mysteries of the earth with soft footsteps, listening to the whispers of the ages, and finding in every unexplained shadow a place to lay our heads and rest. Breathe in the ancient air. Exhale the modern world. In the next chapter, we will find ourselves on a distant, wind-swept shore
where silent sentinels have been waiting for us for hundreds of years. But for now, just drift, drift in the hush, drift in the unknown. You are becoming part of the mystery now, and the mystery is as kind and as soft as a dream. Imagine now that the heavy oak doors of our silent library have opened not onto another room, but onto a vast emerald green horizon. The scent of old parchment and beeswax fades, replaced by the sharp, invigorating tang of salt spray and the sweet, earthy aroma of crushed grass. You are standing on the edge of Rapa Nui, known to many as Easter Island, the loneliest speck of land in the vast blue cradle of the Pacific Ocean. The air here is different. It is soft and humid, carrying the whispers of thousands of miles of open water. As you walk across the soft, undulating hills, the ground beneath your feet feels solid and ancient. This is volcanic earth, born from the fire of the deep sea, now cooled into a peaceful sanctuary. Above you, the sky is an endless vault of indigo, where the stars are so bright and so numerous they look like scattered diamonds on a bed of dark velvet. And there, standing against the silver glow of the moon, are the Sentinels, the Moai. They are taller than houses, heavier than the anchors of great ships, and more silent than the stars themselves. As you approach one of these giants, notice its silhouette: the high brow, the long, noble nose, the thin, resolute lips, and the heavy, squared chin. They do not look like they are waiting for something. They look like they are remembering everything. They have stood here for 700 years, watching the sun rise and set, watching the constellations wheel overhead in their slow, eternal circle. Find a comfortable spot in the tall, soft grass at the base of an ahu, one of the great stone platforms. Lean back and look up. From this perspective, the Moai seems to touch the clouds. You feel small, but not insignificant. You feel protected. These stone giants were carved to represent ancestors, to cast a mana, or a protective spirit, over the people living in their shadows. Tonight, that protection extends to you. How did they get here? The question has puzzled the world for centuries, but as you sit in the cool night breeze, the how doesn't seem as important as the why. Think of the ancient carvers in the volcanic quarry of Roanoke. Close your eyes and imagine that place, a cathedral of stone where the very walls are half-finished giants. In the heat of the afternoon, centuries ago, the only sound was the rhythmic tap, tap, tap of basalt tools against the volcanic tuff. It wasn't a sound of industry or stress. It was a rhythmic, meditative pulse. Tap, 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 like a heartbeat. The carvers worked with the grain of the stone, uncovering the face of the ancestor hidden inside. They weren't fighting the mountain. They were listening to it. Imagine the dust, fine, gray, and soft as flour, settling on their skin as they worked in the shade of the cliffs. There was no rush. Time in the Pacific moves differently. It moves with the tides, with the seasons, with the slow growth of the palm trees. Each stroke of the chisel was a breath. Each day was a step closer to bringing a protector into the world. And then, the greatest mystery of all, the journey. These statues, some weighing 80 tons, traveled miles from the quarry to the coast. The legends of the Rapa Nui people say the statues walked. In the modern world, we look for pulleys, for logs, for ropes. But tonight, let yourself believe in the rhythm of the walk. Visualize the Moai standing upright, bound by heavy ropes of plant fiber. Groups of people on either side pull in a synchronized rhythmic motion. The giant sways, left, then right, left, then right. It begins to move forward in a slow, heavy dance. Thump, sway, thump, sway. It is the movement of a pendulum. It is the movement of a cradle. The very earth vibrates with each heavy step, a low-frequency hum that resonates in your chest. The movement is so steady, so predictable, that it becomes a form of music, a song of stone and gravity. The statues were moved with a collective will, a harmony of hundreds of people pulling together in time with the ocean waves. They moved across the island like slow-moving clouds across the sky. And once they reached their destination, their eyes, made of white coral and dark volcanic glass, were opened. They were turned away from the sea and toward the land to watch over the sleep of the living. Even now, as the palm trees rustle in the breeze, a sound like soft, dry rain, the moai remain. Some have fallen, returning slowly to the earth, covered in a soft blanket of green lichen and moss. Others stand tall, their pukao topknots of red scoria stone glowing like embers in the moonlight. There is a profound stillness here. Because Rapa Nui is so far from any continent, there is no hum of electricity, no distant roar of engines. There is only the wind, the waves, and the stone. The wind plays the moai like instruments, whistling softly around their long ears and over their high brows. It is a low, mournful, but beautiful flute song that has been playing for centuries. As you lie in the grass, feel the coolness of the island night. The air is the perfect temperature, not cold, but refreshing. It carries the scent of the ocean's depth, a clean, watery blue smell that clears your mind. You are tucked away in a corner of the world where time has stopped to take a breath. The mystery of the moai is a gift. It reminds us that there are things in this world that don't need to be solved to be felt. You don't need to know the exact mechanics of their journey to feel the weight of their presence. The unknown is a space where your imagination can rest. It is a soft, dark room where you can let go of the logic of the day and sink into the wonder of the night. Think of the moai as your guardians tonight. They have seen the rise and fall of civilizations. They have seen the stars change their positions. They are experts in the art of standing still. They are masters of the long, quiet wait. Let their stability anchor you. If your mind begins to wander or race, bring it back to the stone. Feel the texture of the volcanic tuff, rough, porous, and warm from the sun that set hours ago. The Pacific Ocean surrounds you for thousands of miles in every direction. It is a vast, rhythmic engine of peace. The waves hit the cliffs far below with a deep, muffled boom, followed by the long, hissing retreat of the foam. In and out, the rise and the fall. It is the breath of the planet.
You are safe here on this island of giants. The moai are watching the horizon so you don't have to. They are holding the history of the world in their silent stone hearts. The grass is soft, the breeze is steady, and the mystery is a warm blanket. The moon is beginning to sink lower, casting longer and longer shadows. The silhouettes of the moai stretch out across the hills, reaching toward each other in the dark. Soon the entire island will be a landscape of soft shadows and silver light. Let yourself sink deeper into the earth. The rhythm of the ancient carvers, the rhythm of the walking statues, and the rhythm of the crashing waves are all merging into one single slow vibration. It is the sound of the unknown. It is the sound of peace. Sleep is coming now, as inevitable as the tide, as steady as the stone. And as you drift away, the silent sentinels of Rapa Nui remain, standing guard over your rest, forever quiet, forever still, forever unexplained. Leave the wind-swept cliffs of the Pacific behind now. Imagine yourself drifting across the map, gliding over the vast American continent until the air becomes thick, warm, and sweet with the scent of orange blossoms and damp pine. We have arrived in the quiet southern reaches of Florida, in a time before the neon lights and the rushing highways. This is the Florida of the early 20th century, a landscape of palm fronds, limestone, and deep velvet nights. In a small town called Homestead, there is a place that shouldn't exist. It is a fortress made entirely of coral rock, a garden of stone giants that seems to have grown out of the earth as if by magic. This is the Coral Castle, and as you step through its heavy coral gates, you are entering a mystery built on the foundation of a broken heart and the quietest power in the universe. The architect of this place was a man named Edward Leeds Collin. Imagine him for a moment. He was a small man, barely 5 feet tall, weighing no more than 100 pounds. He was quiet, unassuming, and deeply private. He spent 28 years of his life building this monument to a lost love, his sweet 16, who had left him in Latvia just before their wedding. But Edward didn't build with wood or brick. He built with massive blocks of oolite limestone, some weighing more than twice the weight of the largest stones in the Great Pyramid of Giza. The most peaceful part of this mystery is how he worked. Edward never worked in the daylight. He never used heavy machinery. He had no pulleys, no cranes, and no help from any other human soul. He worked only at night, under the silver glow of the moon, in a solitude so profound it became a form of prayer. Imagine the scene. The Florida night is alive with the rhythmic, pulsing song of the cicadas and the distant low croak of bullfrogs in the Everglades. The air is heavy and humid, pressing against the skin like a warm, damp cloth. In the center of this dark garden stands Edward, a shadow among shadows. There is no sound of engines, no shouting, no clatter of iron. There is only the soft chink, chink, chink of his hand tools and the rustle of the wind through the sawgrass. How did a man of his size move a 30-ton block of stone? When asked, Edward would only say, "I have discovered the secrets of the pyramids. I have found out how the Egyptians and the ancient builders of Peru, with only primitive tools, raised and set in place blocks of stone weighing many tons." Tonight, we aren't here to solve his secret. We are here to rest within it. Picture one of his great achievements, the 9-ton gate. It is a massive, towering slab of coral that fits so perfectly into the walls that for decades it could be pushed open with the gentle touch of a single finger. Imagine yourself walking up to this gate. The coral is rough and pitted, the fossilized remains of ancient sea creatures frozen in time. You place your hand against the stone. It is cool to the touch, having absorbed the stillness of the night. You give it a tiny, effortless push, and the 9-ton giant pivots with a silent, ghostly grace. There is no grinding of hinges, no friction. It moves as if it were weightless, as if the gravity of the earth had simply forgotten it was there. That is the feeling of the Coral Castle, weightlessness. Edward created a world where the heavy became light.
He carved stone rocking chairs that actually rock, massive gray seats that move with a slow, rhythmic sway when the wind catches them. Imagine sitting in one of those coral chairs now. The movement is steady and hypnotic, back and forth, back and forth. It is a lullaby written in limestone.
As you sit in the rocking chair, look around at his moon fountain and his stone telescope. He carved the planets and the stars out of the earth, bringing the celestial bodies down to the ground. He lived in a tiny, cramped room at the top of a square tower, surrounded by the tools of his mystery. There, he slept on a simple cot, perhaps listening to the same silence you are listening to now. There is a theory that Edward understood magnetism, that he knew how to find the invisible lines of energy that crisscross our planet. He believed the Earth was like a giant magnet, and if you knew how to align your stones with that magnetism, they would float. Imagine him standing before a massive obelisk, 20 feet tall. He isn't straining, he isn't sweating, he is standing perfectly still, perhaps humming a low, steady note, or perhaps simply waiting for the earth to exhale. In your mind's eye, see the stone begin to rise. It doesn't fly, it drifts. It moves through the dark Florida air like a cloud moving across the moon. It settles into its place with a soft, muffled thud, a sound that vibrates through the soles of your feet, a deep, grounding frequency that tells your body it is time to rest. Edward's work was a labor of love, but it was also a labor of peace. He wasn't building for fame or fortune. He was building a sanctuary where he could be alone with his thoughts and his secrets. And tonight, he shares that sanctuary with you. The humidity of the night acts like a blanket, muffling the rest of the world. The stars above Homestead are bright and steady. You can see the Milky Way stretching out like a path of spilled milk across the dark canopy. Everything in this castle, the sundials, the tables, the thrones, is a reminder that the impossible is possible if we are quiet enough to listen to the world's hidden rhythms. Feel your own body becoming like one of Edward's stones. You are heavy, grounded, and solid, yet you feel as though you could float. The tension in your legs, your back, and your arms is being pulled away by the same magnetism Edward used. You are aligning yourself with the quiet energy of the earth. Think of the Sweet 16 table, a heart-shaped stone table where Edward imagined he would one day sit with his lost love. There is a sadness there, yes, but it is a soft, historical sadness. It is the kind of melancholy that makes the present moment feel precious. It is a reminder that we build beautiful things even out of our heartbreaks. The night is deepening now. The cicadas have slowed their song to a steady, low-frequency hum. The shadows of the coral sculptures grow long and soft, blending into the dark grass. The scent of the night jasmine is stronger now, a sweet floral perfume that signals the deepest part of the night. Edward Leeds Cowman took his secrets to the grave in 1951, leaving behind only his castle and a few cryptic pamphlets. He never told a soul how he did it. He left us with the mystery, and in doing so, he gave us a place to wonder. As you prepare to leave the coral castle and drift toward sleep, take one last look at the great obelisk standing tall against the stars. It is a monument to the quiet power of the individual, the beauty of the night, and the peace that comes from keeping a secret. The world is full of things we cannot explain, and that is why we can sleep so soundly. We don't have to carry the weight of the stones. We don't have to understand the magnetism. We only have to lie back in the coral rocking chair of our imagination and let the night carry us. The gate is closing now, silent and smooth. The Florida palms are whispering in the breeze, a soft shh, shh, shh
that follows you into your dreams. The mystery is safe. You are safe. The heavy stones are at rest, and so are you. Breathe in the scent of the orange groves. Feel the cool touch of the moonlight on your skin. In the next chapter, we will travel to a place of dry winds and shifting sands, where the stones move themselves across a vast, empty floor. But for now, stay here in the choral lullaby. Stay in the quiet garden of Edward's heart. Sleep now. The stones are holding the world steady for you. The mystery is your pillow. Sleep. Leave the humid floral air of the Florida coast behind. Feel yourself being carried across the vast expanse of the American West, over the rugged peaks of the Rockies and across the high plateaus until the air becomes crisp, dry, and incredibly clear. We are descending now into one of the silentest places on Earth, Death Valley, California. But we are not going to the scorched dunes or the salt flats. We are traveling to a remote hidden corner called the Racetrack Playa.
Imagine a place where the horizon stretches out in every direction, a perfectly flat, dry lake bed tucked between dark purple mountains. The ground beneath you is a beautiful, natural mosaic, a vast floor of sun-baked mud, cracked into thousands of perfect interlocking hexagons. It looks like an ancient golden pavement laid down by giants. The silence here is absolute. It is a deep, heavy silence that rings in your ears like a distant, low-frequency hum. There are no trees to rustle, no birds to chirp, and no water to flow. There is only the vast, open sky and the cooling earth. As the sun dips behind the mountains, the desert floor turns from gold to amber, then to a soft, dusty violet. The heat of the day evaporates into the atmosphere, replaced by a refreshing, silk-like chill. And there, scattered across this ancient floor, are the sailing stones. They are blocks of dark dolomite and syenite, some as small as a pebble, others as heavy as a grandfather clock. They sit alone in the middle of the vast playa, seemingly motionless. But behind each stone is a long, winding trail etched into the earth, a signature of a journey that no human has ever witnessed with the naked eye. Some trails are straight as an arrow, stretching for hundreds of feet. Others are curved and elegant, like a dancer's path across a stage. Some even turn at sharp, perfect angles, as if the stone suddenly decided to change its destiny. How do these heavy stones, some weighing hundreds of pounds, move across a perfectly flat surface without the help of gravity, animals, or men? For nearly a century, this was one of the world's most peaceful mysteries. People spoke of magnetic fields, of strange winds, or of the earth breathing. But the truth, which scientists only recently glimpsed, is far more poetic. It is a mystery born of the most delicate elements of nature, a rare rain, a freezing night, and a gentle breeze. Imagine a winter night on the Racetrack Playa. A thin, shallow layer of water from a distant rain has settled over the mud, just an inch deep. As the temperature drops under the brilliant desert stars, the water begins to freeze. But it doesn't freeze into a solid block. It forms window pane ice, sheets of ice as thin and clear as a sheet of glass, floating delicately on the water. This is where the magic begins. As the sun rises, the warmth begins to melt the ice, breaking it into vast floating panels. A light wind, nothing more than a steady, cooling breeze, begins to blow across the playa. It catches the sheets of ice, and the ice, in turn, gently nudges the stones. Because the mud beneath the water is slick and soft, the stones lose their grip on the earth. They begin to sail. Close your eyes and visualize this movement. It is so slow it is almost invisible to the human eye.
A stone might move only an inch every few minutes. It is a glide, a smooth, rhythmic sliding across the velvet mud. There is no grinding sound, no struggle. There is only the faint crystalline hiss of the ice sheets brushing against one another and the soft, watery squelch of the stone carving its path. The stones are not in a hurry. They have all the time in the world. They move with the grace of a cloud drifting across the sky. One stone might sail for a few feet, then stop to rest for a decade. Another might embark on a long, winding voyage that takes it halfway across the lake bed over the course of a single winter. Think of the patience of these stones. They sit in the sun for years, absorbing the warmth, waiting for that one perfect night when the water, the ice, and the wind all align. They are a reminder that even the heaviest burdens can be moved if we wait for the right moment, if we let the elements of the world carry us. As you lie there, imagine your own body is like one of these sailing stones. You are heavy and grounded, resting on the cool, firm surface of the earth. The cracked mud of your daily worries is beneath you, but it is becoming slick and soft. A gentle, cooling breeze is beginning to move through your mind, a wind made of quiet thoughts and slow breaths. You don't need to exert any effort. You don't need to walk or run. You are simply being nudged by the rhythm of the universe. Feel yourself beginning to glide. You are leaving a trail behind you, the trail of your day, the trail of your year, but you are moving away from it now, out into the vast open center of the playa, where everything is still and white. The stars above Death Valley are some of the brightest in the world. Because there is no light pollution for hundreds of miles, the Milky Way appears as a thick, glowing river of silver light. It seems so close you could reach up and dip your fingers into it. The stars don't twinkle here. They glow with a steady, ancient fire. They are the same stars that watched the stones move 1,000 years ago, and they will watch them move 1,000 years from now. The desert air is a natural tonic for the spirit. Every breath you take is thin, clean, and incredibly pure. It smells of nothing but space and silence. With each inhale, you feel the vastness of the desert filling your lungs. With each exhale, you feel your connection to the cracked earth beneath you growing stronger. The sailing stones remind us that history isn't just made of loud events. Sometimes history is a stone moving 3 inches on a cold Tuesday night in January. It is a quiet, persistent movement that leaves a mark. The wind is dying down now. The sun has long since set, and the ice sheets are beginning to firm up again, locking the stones into their new positions. They will stay there now, in their new homes, for a month, a year, or a century. They are content. They have reached their destination, for now. The racetrack playa is falling into its deepest slumber. The mountains surrounding the lake bed are like giant, dark blankets, protecting this sacred space from the rest of the world. No footsteps disturb the mud. No voices break the air. There is only the stones, their trails, and the infinite stars. Let your mind become as flat and calm as the playa. Let your thoughts become as still as the Dolomite rocks. You have traveled far tonight, and you have seen that even the earth itself knows how to move in its sleep. The trail you have carved today is finished. You are exactly where you need to be. The desert is cold, but you are warm. The desert is vast, but you are safe. Breathe in the silver starlight. Exhale the golden dust of the day. In our next chapter, we will leave the dry desert sands for the dusty, forgotten shelves of a secret library, to look upon a book that no one can read, but everyone can admire. But for now, stay in the valley, stay with the stones, sail slowly, slowly into the dark. Sleep is the wind. You are the stone. Glide into the dream. Good night, traveler. Leave the vast open silence of the desert floor behind. Feel yourself being pulled back through the curtains of time, away from the dry wind and the sailing stones, and into a space that is small, warm, and infinitely quiet. Imagine you are now sitting in a high-backed leather chair in a private study. The room is lined with books from floor to ceiling, their leather spines glowing like embers in the soft, flickering light of a single tallow candle. Outside the window, a gentle rain is beginning to fall, a rhythmic tap, tap, tap against the glass that only makes the room feel more secure, more like a sanctuary. On the heavy oak desk before you lies a small, unassuming book. It is about the size of a modern novel, bound in a simple, brownish-yellow vellum that has been smoothed by the touch of countless hands over 600 years. This is the Voynich Manuscript. It is perhaps the most mysterious book in human history, a garden of secrets made of parchment and ink, written in a language that no one on earth can speak and no scholar can decode. Reach out in your mind and feel the cover. The vellum, made of calfskin, is cool and slightly waxy, holding the residual chill of the centuries it spent hidden in Jesuit libraries and the collections of emperors. As you open the cover, the spine gives a soft, dry creak, a tiny sound that seems to echo in the absolute stillness of the room. The first thing you notice is the script. It is beautiful. The letters are loopy and elegant, flowing across the page with a rhythmic grace that looks like a stream of water or a flight of birds. There are no corrections, no crossed-out words, no signs of hesitation. The author wrote this with a steady, confident hand, as if the words were flowing directly from their heart onto the page. But as you look closer, you realize that you recognize nothing. There are characters that look like O's and A's, and others that look like tiny gallows or winding vines. It is a language of pure mystery, of Voynichese that refuses to be known. Do not let this frustrate you. Instead, let the illegibility of the text be a source of peace. In a world where we are constantly forced to read, to process, and to understand, this book asks nothing of your intellect. It does not demand that you learn a lesson or follow a plot. It is a visual lullaby. Because you cannot read the words, you are free to simply admire the shapes, the rise and fall of the ink, the way the letters huddle together like friends sharing a secret. Now turn the page. The parchment is thick and substantial, making a soft flick as it settles. You have arrived at the botanical section, the garden of the manuscript. Here, the pages are filled with large hand-painted illustrations of plants. But look closely. You recognize the green of the leaves and the vibrant reds and blues of the petals, but you do not recognize the plants themselves. These are flowers that do not grow in our soil. They have roots that look like serrated saws, leaves that fold like origami, and blossoms that resemble exploding stars or tiny sleeping faces.
Imagine that these plants exist in a hidden valley, somewhere between the world of waking and the world of dreams. The colors are soft and muted, watercolors made of crushed berries and ground minerals. The greens are like the moss on an ancient oak. The blues are like the sky just before the first star appears. As you trace the outline of a strange, imaginary fern with your finger, feel the texture of the ink. It is slightly raised, a tactile record of a person who lived in the year 1420, sitting by a window much like this one, painting a world that only they could see. The manuscript is a reminder that the human imagination is a vast, uncharted territory. Whoever wrote this wasn't trying to confuse the future. They were simply documenting a different kind of reality.
As you browse through the drawings of strange roots and impossible thorns, let your own mind begin to drift into that same imaginative space. You don't need to stay within the boundaries of what is real. Like the author of the Voynich, you are free to let your thoughts grow into strange and beautiful shapes. Turn the page again. Now the drawings change. We have left the garden and entered the cosmos. Here are large fold-out diagrams of circular maps, mandalas of the medieval mind. There are suns with gentle human faces and moons that look as though they are holding their breath. Around them are rings of stars, each one drawn with a tiny flickering tail. There are astrological signs that look familiar but are slightly off, as if seen through a mirror or a dream. There is a deep rhythmic symmetry to these drawings. Your eyes follow the circles round and round, spiraling inward toward a center that remains a mystery. It is like watching a slow-motion whirlpool of ink. The more you look, the more your own breathing begins to sync with the circular motion of the art. In and around, out and around. The universe of the Voynich is a closed loop, a self-contained world where everything is connected by invisible threads of meaning. In another section, there are drawings of small, simplified figures, people bathing in emerald green pools connected by elaborate pipe-like structures. The water flows from one page to the next, a continuous stream of painted liquid. Listen to the imaginary sound of that water, a soft, bubbling brook, a gentle splashing against stone. It is a visual representation of flow, a state where time disappears and only the present moment remains. Think of the scholars who have spent their entire lives trying to break the code of this book. They have used supercomputers, linguistic analysis, and historical cross-referencing. But the book remains silent. It is the ultimate guardian of its own story. There is something deeply comforting about that. The idea that in our modern, hyper-connected world, there are still things that cannot be Googled, things that remain private, sacred, and unexplained. The Voynich manuscript is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a companion for the night. It is a book written in the language of sleep. Think about it. When we dream, we often see things that feel profoundly meaningful, yet when we wake, we cannot translate them into the language of the day. The Voynich is a dream that has been captured on parchment and bound in leather. It is a bridge between the conscious mind and the deep, dark well of the subconscious. As the candle in your study burns lower, the shadows on the pages begin to dance. The strange plants seem to sway slightly in the flickering light. The loopy script looks like it might begin to crawl off the page and drift into the air like smoke. The rain outside has slowed to a rhythmic dripping from the eaves. Drip, drop, drip, drop. Your eyes are growing heavy. The effort of seeing is giving way to the ease of being. You no longer need to look at the drawings. You can see them behind your eyelids now. The imaginary garden, the blue stars, the emerald pools. You are becoming a character in the manuscript. You are one of the quiet figures resting by the edge of the ink-drawn stream. The mystery of the Voynich is a soft pillow. It tells you that it is okay to not have all the answers. It tells you that beauty can exist without explanation. It tells you that the greatest secrets are often the ones we carry within ourselves, written in a language that only our heart understands. Close the book now. Feel the weight of the vellum settle back into place. The desk is solid, the room is warm. The garden of paper secrets is closed for the night, but its flowers will continue to bloom in the quiet corners of your mind. Breathe in the scent of old paper and wood smoke. Exhale the need to understand. In our next chapter, we will leave the quiet study and look up, far beyond the clouds, to hear a single mysterious note played on the radio of the stars. But for now, let the ink of the Voynich fade into the darkness of a deep, restful sleep. The book is still.
The garden is quiet, and you are at peace. Let the walls of the library dissolve once more. The heavy oak desk, the scent of parchment, and the flickering candle fade away into a darkness that is not empty but full of light. You are no longer indoors. You are reclining in a soft, grassy field in the heart of the American Midwest, Ohio, in the late summer of 1977. The air is warm and carries the scent of ripening corn and the cooling asphalt of distant country roads. Above you, the sky is an immense, glittering tapestry of silver and obsidian. In the distance, rising from the flat earth like a strange prehistoric monument, is the Big Ear radio telescope. It isn't a gleaming white dish like the ones we see today. It is a vast, shimmering expanse of metal mesh, flat and grounded, stretching across the field like a giant's bed. It is an ear pressed against the chest of the universe, listening, not for voices, but for the heartbeat of the stars. The Big Ear is silent. It doesn't move. It waits for the rotation of the Earth to sweep it across the heavens. As the planet turns in its slow, majestic waltz, the telescope scans the deep, dark corridors of space. It listens to the music of the spheres, the low-frequency hum of distant pulsars, the crackle of ancient radiation from the birth of time, and the vast, white noise sigh of the vacuum. Tonight, the universe is quiet. The computer at the Big Ear records the data in a rhythmic, predictable flow, a series of numbers and letters printed on a long, continuous roll of paper. 1, 2, 1, 4. The numbers represent the quiet background static of the cosmos. It is a digital lullaby, a record of the infinite peace that exists between the stars. But then, at 11:16 p.m. on August 15th, something changes. Imagine a single pure note played on a silver flute in the middle of a vast, silent cathedral. For 72 seconds, the telescope catches a signal that is different from everything else. It isn't the random noise of a star or the interference of a satellite. It is a surge of energy, a steady, rising and falling beam of radio light from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, the Archer. It starts softly, building in intensity like a deep, resonant breath, reaching a peak, and then fading slowly back into the silence. It lasts exactly as long as it takes for the Earth's rotation to pass the telescope's beam across that specific point in the sky. It is a fleeting hello from the deep. A few days later, an astronomer named Jerry Amon sits in a quiet office reviewing the computer printout. He sees the sequence 6ECUJ5. These characters represent the intensity of the signal. He stares at the page, the silence of the room amplifying the weight of what he sees. In a moment of pure human wonder, he takes a red pen and circles the code. In the margin, he writes a single word: wow. Tonight, we aren't here to debate the origins of that signal. We aren't here to search for alien civilizations or complex theories. Instead, we're going to rest within the mystery of that 72-second whisper. Think of the distance that signal traveled. It came from a place so far away that light itself takes hundreds of years to reach us. That signal was a traveler. It drifted through the freezing, silent void for centuries, passing by cold planets, through swirling nebulae of purple and gold, and across the empty reaches where no star shines. It moved through the velvet dark with a purpose, a lone messenger in the night.
Close your eyes and imagine yourself drifting with that signal. You are far above the earth now, floating in the gentle embrace of the cosmos. Space is not a cold, frightening vacuum. It is a vast, dark ocean of peace. There is no wind here, no gravity to pull at your limbs, no noise to disturb your thoughts. You are weightless. You are part of the stardust.
The wow signal is a reminder that we are part of something much larger than our daily lives. When we look up at the stars, we aren't looking at nothing. We are looking at a grand celestial orchestra. Every star is a note. Every galaxy is a symphony. Most of the time, the music is so vast we cannot hear it. But every now and then, the universe hums a single clear tune just for us. Think of the constellation Sagittarius, the direction from which the signal came. In that part of the sky lies the heart of our galaxy, the Milky Way. It is a place of dense, glowing clouds of gas, where new stars are being born in a slow, rhythmic process that takes millions of years. It is a cosmic nursery, a place of profound creation and deep stillness. The signal was a breath from that heart. As you lie in the grass of your imagination, feel the earth beneath you. It is a small, warm, and protected ship sailing through the infinite. You are tucked into your bed, safe and sound, while the universe continues its grand, silent work. The wow signal came and went, a one-time event that was never heard again. It didn't demand an answer. It didn't start a war. It simply was. There is a deep comfort in the one-time mystery. It reminds us that some things in life are meant to be experienced just once. A beautiful sunset, a perfect dream, a fleeting thought of peace. We don't need to capture them or repeat them. We only need to be present when they happen. Listen to the imaginary static of the universe now. It is a soft, shushing sound, like the distant roar of the ocean in a seashell. Shh, shh, shh. This is the background noise of existence. It is the sound of time passing, of light traveling, of the universe expanding into the dark. It is the ultimate white noise machine, designed by the stars to lull you into a state of total equanimity.
You are becoming as quiet as the Big Ear telescope. Your mind is wide and open, scanning the horizon of your dreams. You aren't looking for anything specific. You are just waiting, watching, and listening. If a thought enters your mind, let it be like that signal. Let it rise softly, peak in its beauty, and then fade away back into the darkness. The numbers on the page, 6, E, Q, U, J, 5. They don't need to mean anything to you. They're just shapes, rhythmic markers of a moment of wonder. Let them drift past your eyes like glowing embers. The Ohio night is growing cooler. The crickets in the cornfields have slowed their chirping. The big ear continues to listen, its metal mesh silvered by the moonlight. Somewhere out there, in the vast reaches between the stars, other signals are traveling. Other whispers are moving through the dark. But you don't need to hear them tonight. You have heard enough. You are part of the music of the spheres. Your heartbeat is a tiny rhythmic echo of the pulsars. Your breath is a slow, steady tide that mimics the movement of the galaxies. You are not alone in the dark. You are connected to every atom of every star. The wow signal was a gift of 72 seconds of wonder. Let that wonder settle into your bones. Let it make you feel light and airy. The mysteries of space are not puzzles to be solved before you sleep. They are the blankets that cover you. The universe is vast, but it is also a home. It is a place of infinite quiet where you can finally let go. The red pen has circled the mystery. The paper roll has stopped spinning. The telescope has finished its scan for the night. Now it is your turn to find the silence. Breathe in the cool cosmic air. Exhale the heat of the world.
In our next chapter, we will return to the waters of our own world, to a ship found drifting on a glass-like sea, where the table was set, but the people were gone. But for now, stay among the stars. Stay in the 72-second embrace of the wow. The universe is singing you to sleep. Listen to the silence. Listen to the peace. Sleep now, traveler of the stars. Sleep. Leave the silent radio telescopes of the Midwest behind. Feel your spirit being drawn toward the east, over the rugged coastline, and out into the vast, rolling blue of the Atlantic Ocean. The year is 1872. The month is December. But do not fear the winter cold. Here, in the middle of the sea, the air is surprisingly mild, carrying the clean, sharp scent of salt and the deep, rhythmic pulse of the tides. Imagine you are standing on the deck of a ship called the Dei Gratia. The ocean today is not a place of storms or crashing waves. It is a mirror, a vast glass-like expanse of liquid sapphire that stretches out until it meets a pale, hazy horizon. The sun is a soft, golden orb hanging low in the sky, casting a long, shimmering path across the water. The only sound is the gentle slap-slap of the sea against the wooden hull and the occasional rhythmic creak of the masts. And there, in the distance, drifting slowly through the silver mist, is another ship. She is a brigantine, her white sails partially set, fluttering softly in a breeze that is barely a whisper. She moves with a strange, hypnotic grace, as if she is being guided by an invisible hand. As your ship draws closer, you see the name painted in elegant letters across her stern, Mary Celeste. This is one of the most famous mysteries in maritime history, but tonight we are not looking for a tragedy. We are looking for the peace of a ship that found its own way home. When the crew of the Dei Gratia boarded the Mary Celeste, they found something remarkable. They didn't find signs of a struggle or a storm. They found a ship that looked as though its inhabitants had simply stepped into another dimension, leaving behind a scene of perfect domestic stillness. Step onto the deck of the Mary Celeste in your mind. The wood beneath your feet is silvered by the sun and salt. Everything is in its place. The ropes are coiled neatly. The cargo of industrial alcohol is untouched in the hold. There is no one at the wheel, yet the ship has stayed its course for hundreds of miles.
Walk down the companionway into the captain's cabin. The air here is cool and smells of old maps and lavender. On the table, there is a sewing machine with a piece of white fabric still beneath the needle. A small toy, perhaps belonging to the captain's young daughter, Sophia, lies on the floor as if it had just been dropped during a game of make-believe. There are no dishes smashed, no chairs overturned. The most enduring legend, the one that has lulled people to sleep for a century, is that the table was set for breakfast. Imagine it, a pot of tea still warm, oatmeal in the bowls, and the morning light streaming through the portholes, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. While historians may debate the details, the feeling remains, a moment of life perfectly preserved in the amber of time. The people were gone, Captain Briggs, his wife Sarah, their daughter, and the crew, but they left behind a sense of profound quiet. They left in a single lifeboat, perhaps fearing a phantom danger that never came, leaving the Mary Celeste to become a ghost ship. But ghost is too harsh a word. She was a dream ship. For 10 days the Mary Celeste sailed herself through the vast Atlantic. Think of the peace of that journey. No orders being shouted, no bells ringing, no heavy boots thumping on the deck, just the wind in the canvas and the stars at night. She was a silent traveler, navigating by the stars and the currents, a vessel of pure solitude. As you lie in your bed, imagine you are the Mary Celeste. You're drifting on a sea of perfect calm. Your sails, your thoughts, are filled with a gentle, steady wind. You don't need to steer. You don't need to worry about the destination. The great ocean of sleep knows exactly where to take you. The mystery of where the crew went is not a puzzle to be solved tonight. Perhaps they found a hidden island. Perhaps they were picked up by a passing breeze and carried to a place of eternal summer. Whatever their fate, they left you with this gift, the image of a ship at peace. Listen to the sounds of the ship. A wooden ship is a living thing. It breathes, it sighs, creak, groan, sigh. These are the sounds of the oak and the pine settling into the water. It is a rhythmic, organic music. It is the sound of a cradle rocking on the waves. The water around you is so clear you can see deep into the indigo heart of the ocean. Far below, the great whales are singing their low, mournful songs, a vibration you can feel in your very bones. It is a grounding hum, a frequency that connects the surface to the deep, dark floor of the sea.
You are floating. You are weightless. The cargo of your day, all your responsibilities, your to-do lists, your worries, is locked safely in the hold. It is not going anywhere. It is secure. You are free to walk the deck and look up at the vast, open sky. The sun has finally dipped below the horizon, and the green flash of the twilight has passed. Now the Atlantic belongs to the moon. The Mary Celeste glows silver in the moonlight, a pale flower blooming on a dark field. The stars are so bright they cast shadows on the deck. You can see the constellations that the ancient sailors used to navigate: Orion, Cassiopeia, and the North Star, steady and true. The Mary Celeste reminds us that abandonment isn't always a loss. Sometimes it is a release. By leaving the ship, the crew gave her back to the ocean. They allowed her to become a legend, a mystery that would fascinate the world for centuries. There is a certain beauty in being left behind by the world of the living and becoming part of the world of the eternal. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your bed. It is the swell of the Atlantic. It is slow, so slow, taking several seconds for each breath of the ocean. Up and down, rise and fall. Your heart is beating in time with the sea. Your breath is the wind in the rigging. The Dei Gratia is nearby, watching over you, but you are the master of your own drift. You are moving toward the Azores, toward the islands of mist and volcanic stone, but you are in no hurry to get there. The journey is the destination. The drift is the dream. The cabin is growing darker now. The sewing machine is a soft shadow. The maps on the wall are becoming blurred. The tea in the cup has grown cold, and the steam has vanished into the night air. Everything is coming to a point of absolute stillness. The Mary Celeste is a reminder that the world can continue without our constant effort. The ship can sail, the stars can shine, and the ocean can breathe even when we are not at the helm. You can let go of the wheel now. You can let the rudder find its own way. Breathe in the cool, salt-scented air.
exhale the noise of the land. In our next chapter, we will travel to the high deserts of West Texas to watch a dance of light on the horizon, a celestial performance that has no known cause but provides an infinite sense of wonder. But for now, stay on the water, stay in the drifting dream. The ocean is wide, the ship is safe, and the mystery is a soft blue horizon. Sleep now, sailor of the night, drift into the deep. Good night. Leave the drifting hull of the Mary Celeste and the vast blue Atlantic behind. Feel yourself being carried westward across the rolling plains and the rugged canyons until the air turns crisp, dry, and cool. We are descending into the high desert of West Texas near the tiny, quiet town of Marfa. The year is 1883, and the world is a much darker, much more silent place than it is today. Imagine you are standing on a vast, open plateau. The sun has long since dipped behind the jagged silhouette of the Chinati Mountains, leaving the sky in a state of permanent, deep indigo. The air here is thin and pure, smelling of sun-baked earth, dry sagebrush, and the distant sweet promise of rain that may never come. There are no city lights for hundreds of miles. There are no power lines humming in the breeze. There is only the desert, the wind, and the infinite stars.
In the distance, you see the flickering glow of a campfire. It belongs to a young cowboy named Robert Reed Ellison. He is sitting on his bedroll, his horse grazing softly nearby. The only sound is the rhythmic crunch, crunch of the horse on the dry grass and the low musical whistle of the wind through the yucca plants. Robert is a man of the earth, used to the movements of cattle and the patterns of the seasons. But tonight, as he looks out toward the Mitchell Flat, he sees something that makes him set down his coffee tin in silence. On the horizon, just above the dark line of the earth, a light appears. It isn't a star, for it sits too low. It isn't a campfire, for it moves with a fluid, ghostly grace that no flame could mimic. It is a soft, glowing orb, the color of a ripening peach or a flickering amber candle. As Robert watches, another light appears beside it, then another. They begin to dance. Tonight you are sitting there with him, wrapped in a heavy wool blanket, feeling the cooling desert air on your cheeks. These are the Marfa Lights, a celestial performance that has been playing to an empty theater for centuries. They are not bright or jarring. They are soft, diffused, and gentle, like paper lanterns floating on an invisible river. Watch the rhythm of their movement. One light drifts slowly to the left, then pauses as if it is thinking. It hovers there, pulsing with a slow, steady heartbeat, bright and dim, bright and dim. Then it begins to rise, ascending toward the stars, before gently sinking back down to the desert floor. Another orb approaches it, and for a moment they merge into a single brilliant sphere of light before splitting apart and dancing in opposite directions. There is no sound associated with these lights, no hum, no crackle, no roar. They move in absolute, reverent silence. It is a visual lullaby, a silent ballet performed by the earth itself. Over the years, many people have tried to explain what Robert Reed Ellison saw that night. Some say it is the Fata Morgana, a trick of the light where temperature layers in the air create a desert mirage. Others speak of static electricity or gases rising from the ancient volcanic soil. But as you lie here in the grass of the high desert, those explanations feel like distant echoes. The mystery itself is what provides the peace. Think of the lights as the thoughts of the desert, slow, wandering, and glowing with an ancient memory. The desert has seen the rise and fall of the seas. It has felt the weight of the dinosaurs and the footsteps of the Apache. It is a place that keeps its own secrets.
The lights are a reminder that the earth is alive and that it has a beauty that doesn't require our understanding. The Marfa Lights are like slow-motion fireflies of the cosmos. Their colors shift gently from a ghostly white to a warm yellow, then occasionally to a soft, bruised purple. They remind us of the ignis fatuus, the will-o'-wisps of old folk tales. But here in the vastness of Texas, they don't feel mischievous. They feel like guardians. They feel like lanterns lit to guide the weary traveler home to sleep. Feel the stillness of the Texas night settling into your bones. The ground beneath you is solid and ancient, holding on to the last lingering warmth of the afternoon sun. The sky above is so vast, it feels as if you were looking into the very heart of the universe. You can see the great rift of the Milky Way, a river of silver dust that seems to flow directly into the dancing lights on the horizon. As you watch the orbs, let your breathing synchronize with their pulse. In as the light glows, out as the light fades. There is no hurry in the desert. The mountains have stood here for millions of years, and they are in no rush for the morning. They are content to sit in the dark, watching the lights dance across the flats.
Imagine the lights are taking all the noise of your mind, the sharp edges of your worries, the bright flashes of your stresses, and turning them into this soft, rhythmic glow. They are transforming your thoughts into something beautiful and distant. You are no longer thinking, you are watching. You are a witness to the unexplained, and there is a profound relief in that. You don't have to fix the lights. You don't have to catch them. You only have to let them be. The cowboy, Robert, eventually rolled over in his blankets and fell into a deep, dreamless sleep, knowing that the lights would be there when he woke, and would be there long after he was gone. He trusted the mystery. Tonight, you can do the same. The horizon is a long, dark line that marks the boundary between the known and the unknown. Most of the day, we stay in the known, but at night, we are allowed to wander to the edge. The Marfa Lights are the beacons at that edge. They tell us that the unknown is a place of wonder, a place of soft light and gentle movement. Listen to the desert night again. If you listen very closely, you can hear the singing of the sand, a tiny microscopic vibration caused by the cooling grains of earth. It is a sound so fine, it is more of a feeling than a noise. It is the earth settling in for the night. The lights are beginning to fade now, becoming smaller and more translucent. They are retreating into the folds of the desert, back into the shadows of the Chinati Mountains. They have finished their dance for now, but they aren't gone. They are just resting, waiting for the next silent night to return. Your eyes are heavy, mirroring the darkness of the Texan plains. The vastness of the sky no longer feels overwhelming. It feels like a soft velvet dome that is protecting you. You are a small, warm spark of life in a wide, peaceful world. Breathe in the scent of the dry sage. Feel the cool midnight breeze brush against your forehead like a gentle hand. In our next chapter, we will travel south to the humid rainforests of Central America, where perfectly round stones, the pearls of the earth, lie hidden in the emerald shadows. But for now, stay in Marfa. Stay with the lanterns of the horizon. The lights have led you to the edge of sleep. Let the desert carry you the rest of the way. Sleep now, watcher of the lights. The horizon is quiet. The dance is over. Leave the dry, flickering horizon of the Texas desert behind. Feel yourself being carried south, gliding over the Gulf of Mexico and across the verdant, mist-covered mountains of Central America. The air is changing again.
The crisp, thin chill of the high desert is replaced by a warmth that is thick, soft, and life-giving. You are descending into the Diquis Delta of Costa Rica, a place where the earth is so fertile and the air so humid that the very silence seems to pulse with the growth of 1,000 green things. Imagine you are standing at the edge of an ancient primary rainforest. This is not a place of chaotic noise, but a cathedral of emerald light. The canopy far above you is a tangled roof of mahogany, cedar, and giant ferns, filtering the sunlight into soft, dappled ribbons of gold and mint. The ground beneath your feet is a thick, springy carpet of moss and fallen leaves, damp and fragrant with the scent of wild orchids and rich volcanic soil. Listen to the rhythm of this place. It is the slow, steady drip of dew from the tip of a broad leaf. Drip, drip, drip. It is the distant, haunting call of a trogon bird, a soft, repetitive note that echoes through the mist like a wooden flute. It is the rustle of the warm breeze through the palms, a sound like the turning of 1,000,000 silk pages. As you push aside a curtain of long, hanging vines, you come upon a small clearing, and there, nestled in the roots of a massive ceiba tree, you see it, a perfect sphere. It is a stone of dark volcanic granodiorite, polished to a smooth, matte finish. It is not just round, it is mathematically, miraculously perfect. It looks like a giant pearl that has been dropped by a celestial traveler and left to rest in the jungle's embrace. As you look further into the clearing, you see others. Some are the size of a grapefruit nestled in the hollows of trees. Others are massive, 6 or 7 feet in diameter, weighing 15 tons, sitting with a heavy, eternal grace on the forest floor. These are the stone spheres of Costa Rica, the Las Bolas. They were created by the Diquis people over 1,000 years ago, long before the first European ships touched these shores. But the how and the why have remained a secret, tucked away in the humid shadows of the past. Approach one of the larger spheres. It is covered in a delicate velvet layer of pale green moss, but beneath the moss, the stone is cool and incredibly solid. Place your hand upon it. Feel the curve. In a world of jagged rocks and irregular cliffs, this perfect circle feels like a miracle. It is a shape that has no beginning and no end. It is a symbol of totality, of the cycle of life, and of the earth itself. Think of the ancient craftsmen who created these pearls. Imagine them 1,000 years ago, sitting in this very jungle. They didn't have iron tools or laser levels. They had only patience and the rhythm of the earth.
Visualize the process. A craftsman sits before a large, irregular block of volcanic stone. He holds a smaller, harder stone in his hand. Tap, tap, tap. He isn't striking with anger or haste. He is pecking the stone, removing microscopic grains one at a time. It is a meditative act. He works with the sun and the rain. He listens to the stone. He spends months, perhaps years, smoothing the surface, using sand and water to grind away the imperfections until the sphere emerges from the rock, like a soul emerging from a dream. There is a profound peace in the idea of such a slow labor. In our world, we want results in seconds. But here in the Diquis Delta, time is measured in the growth of trees and the shaping of stones. The carvers knew that they were making something that would outlast their names, their language, and their civilization. They were creating monuments to the infinite. Why did they make them? As you lie in the soft grass near the spheres, let your mind wander through the possibilities. Some say they were arranged in lines to point toward the rising sun or the distant stars,
a map of the heavens laid out on the jungle floor. Others believe they marked the paths to the homes of great leaders, but perhaps they were simply meant to be what they are, anchors for the spirit. Imagine the spheres at night. The jungle grows dark, and the moonflowers, large white blossoms that only open after sunset, begin to bloom, filling the air with a sweet, intoxicating perfume. The spheres catch the moonlight, their curved surfaces glowing with a soft, silver luster. They look like bubbles of stone rising from the earth. The humidity of the rainforest acts like a warm blanket, holding the heat of the day and softening every sound. You are tucked into this secret garden, protected by the massive trees and the silent stone sentinels. The spheres have been here for 1,000 years. They have seen empires rise and fall. They have heard the rain of 1,000,000 tropical storms. They have watched the slow, steady march of the constellations across the sky. And through it all, they have remained still. They have remained perfect. Feel your own body becoming like one of these stone spheres. You are grounded. You are balanced. You have no edges for your worries to catch on. The stresses of your life are like the tropical rain. They wash over the smooth surface of the stone and disappear into the earth, leaving you clean and unchanged. You are solid, heavy, and at peace. The sound of the rainforest is a natural white noise. The hum of the insects, the distant murmur of a hidden river, and the rhythmic dripping of water all blend into a single low-frequency vibration. It is the hum of the earth, a sound that tells your nervous system it is safe to let go. In the Diquis-Denta, the trees don't struggle to grow, they simply unfold. The stones don't struggle to be round, they simply exist. Tonight, you can do the same. You don't need to achieve sleep, you only need to unfold into it. The moss on the spheres is soft as silk. Imagine resting your head against the cool, ancient granidoiorite. The stone holds the memory of the sun and the wisdom of the earth.
It is an anchor that keeps you from drifting too far into the storms of the mind. You are here, you are present, you are part of the mystery. The rainforest is growing quieter now as the deepest part of the night approaches. The mist is thickening, drifting between the trees like ghost ribbons, wrapping around the stone spheres and hiding them from the world once more. They are retreating into the green silence, back into the heart of the unexplained. You are drifting too. The emerald light of the jungle is fading into a soft, velvety blackness. The perfect pearls of the earth are watching over you, their silent, circular forms a reminder that everything in the universe eventually finds its balance. Breathe in the scent of damp earth and orchids. Exhale the modern world. In our next chapter, we will leave the humid jungle for a different kind of vibration, a mysterious, low-frequency hum that is felt by people across the world, a sound that reminds us of the hidden pulse of our planet. But for now, stay in the clearing, stay with the spheres. The jungle is still, the stones are resting, and so are you. Sleep now, child of the earth. The circle is complete. Leave the emerald shadows of the Costa Rican jungle behind. Feel yourself drifting north once more, rising above the clouds and gliding over the shimmering waters of the Gulf until the landscape below turns into a majestic tapestry of red rock, high plateaus, and silver-green sagebrush. We are returning to the American Southwest, but this time we are settling in the ancient, mystical valley of Taos, New Mexico. The air here is different from anywhere else on Earth. It is thin, dry, and carries the sweet, resinous scent of pinyon pine and cedar smoke.
The sun has set behind the Sangre de Cristo mountains, the blood of Christ mountains, which glow with a soft, bruised purple in the fading twilight. As the stars begin to pierce through the indigo canopy, the desert floor cools rapidly, and a profound stillness settles over the adobe houses. Taos is a place where time seems to fold in on itself. The Taos Pueblo, with its multi-storied brown clay walls, has stood for over 1,000 years, a testament to a life lived in harmony with the land. But beneath this layer of historical silence, there is something else, something invisible, something that cannot be seen, but can be felt in the very marrow of your bones.
It is known as the Taos hum. Imagine you are lying in a comfortable bed inside a thick-walled adobe room. The walls are made of earth, straw, and water, providing a natural insulation that muffles the outside world. The room is dark, save for the faint silvery light of the moon filtering through a small window. It is perfectly quiet, and yet, as you settle into the pillows, you notice a sound. It isn't a sound in the traditional sense. It doesn't come from the wind or the pipes or a distant neighbor. It is a low, persistent, and rhythmic vibration. It sounds like a large diesel engine idling far off in the distance, or perhaps the low-frequency purr of a giant cat sleeping beneath the floorboards. For decades, residents of this valley have reported this mysterious resonance. Scientists have come with sensitive microphones and seismic sensors searching for its source. They looked for secret underground bases, industrial machinery, or tectonic plates grinding together. But the sensors often find nothing. The hum remains elusive, a ghost in the machine of the world. Tonight, we are not going to look for the source. We are going to let the source find us. Think of the Taos hum not as a disturbance, but as the heartbeat of the Earth itself. Imagine that our planet, as it spins through the cold vacuum of space at 67,000 miles per hour, makes a sound. It is the sound of the molten iron core swirling deep beneath our feet. It is the sound of the tectonic plates breathing. It is a planetary lullaby, a natural white noise machine that has been playing since the dawn of time, only heard by those who are quiet enough to listen. Close your eyes and feel the vibration. It is a grounding frequency. It doesn't demand your attention, it supports your weight. It is as if the earth is whispering, "I am here. I am solid. I am holding you." In the early 1990s, when the hum first became a famous mystery, people were puzzled. But many found that once they stopped fighting the sound and began to lean into it, it became a source of deep relaxation. It is a solfeggio frequency of nature, a tone that aligns the body with the rhythm of the universe. Visualize the hum as a soft, golden wave of energy. It starts at the base of the mountains, rolling slowly across the desert floor, passing through the sagebrush, the cacti, and the ancient adobe walls, until it reaches you. It flows through your feet, up your legs, and settles in your chest. With every breath you take, you are syncing your own internal rhythm with the rhythm of the planet. Inhale, and the hum rises slightly. Exhale, and the hum settles deep into the earth. The Taos hum is not alone. Similar sounds have been heard in Bristol, England, in Largs, Scotland, and in the coastal towns of New Zealand. It is as if the earth is a giant bell that has been struck by the hand of creation and is still vibrating thousands of years later. It is a reminder that the ground beneath us is not dead, inanimate stone. It is a living, breathing
humming entity. Think of the mountain range that surrounds Taos. These peaks have stood as silent witnesses to the hum for eons. In the winter, they are draped in a heavy blanket of white snow, which acts as a further insulator, making the hum even clearer in the dead of night. Imagine the mountain goats and the elk sleeping in the hidden crags, their hearts beating in time with the low-frequency vibration of the stone. The desert at night is a place of absolute purity. There is no hum of electricity here, no buzzing of wires. There is only the earth's own song. This vibration acts as a barrier, a shield that keeps the frantic thoughts of the modern world at bay. It creates a frequency of peace around your bed. As you lie there, let the hum dissolve the edges of your physical self. You are no longer a person trying to fall asleep. You are a part of the vibration. You are as steady as the mountains. You are as deep as the canyon. You are as ancient as the starlight. The hum is a constant. In a world of change, where everything is moving and shifting, the hum is the one thing that remains steadfast. It was there before you were born, and it will be there long after. There is a profound security in that. You don't have to do anything to maintain it. You don't have to understand it. You only have to exist within it. Listen to the imaginary silence of the room. Notice how the hum makes the silence feel thick and warm. It isn't an empty, cold silence. It is a full, comforting one. It is like being wrapped in a heavy, weighted blanket of sound. The night is deepening in New Mexico. A coyote howls in the distance, a high, lonely sound that quickly fades, leaving the hum to reclaim the air. The stars are wheeling overhead in their slow, silent dance, but the earth remains your anchor. Feel the muscles in your face relax. Let your jaw go slack. Let your hands open and rest at your sides. Every cell in your body is being gently massaged by the low-frequency resonance of the world. It is a cellular massage, a deep tissue relaxation that reaches into the parts of you that have been tense for years.
The mystery of the hum is a gift of the unknown. We don't need to know if it's a mechanical echo or a geological sigh. We only need to know that it is peaceful. It is the gentle hush we spoke of at the beginning of our journey, now given a voice. The adobe walls are cool to the touch, but the bed is warm and soft. The scent of the piñon pine is drifting through the room, a clean, woody aroma that clears the mind. Everything is in harmony. Everything is in sync. As you drift closer to the threshold of sleep, let the hum be the last thing you hold on to. Let it carry your consciousness down, deep into the quiet layers of the subconscious, like a leaf sinking slowly to the bottom of a clear, still lake. Breathe in the frequency of the earth. Exhale the noise of the day. In our next chapter, we will travel to the misty forests of the Atlantic coast, to a place where an entire colony of people vanished into the fog, leaving behind only a single word carved into a tree. But for now, stay in the resonance, stay in the hum. The earth is singing to you. The mountains are watching over you. The vibration is your home. Sleep now, child of the resonance. The earth is holding you. Good night. Leave the low, steady vibration of the New Mexico desert behind.
Feel yourself drifting eastward once more, over the rolling Appalachian Mountains and down toward the humid, salt-kissed coastline of North Carolina. We are arriving at Roanoke Island, a narrow strip of land nestled between the mainland and the great Atlantic. The year is 1590. A thick silken mist has settled over the island, rolling in from the outer banks like a soft white velvet curtain. The air here is heavy and sweet, smelling of ancient cedar trees, damp pine needles, and the cool, briny breath of the sea. There is no sound of industry here, no clamor of cities. There is only the rhythmic hush, hush, hush of the waves lapping against the sandy shore, and the occasional sleepy call of an owl deep within the forest. Imagine you're standing at the edge of the woods, looking toward the site of the lost colony. For centuries, history has painted this story as a mystery of fear and tragedy. But tonight, we are going to see it through a different lens. We are going to see it as a story of transition, a peaceful release from the old world into the warm, green embrace of the new one. In 1590, John White returned to this island after 3 years at sea. He expected to find the sounds of hammers, the smoke of chimneys, and the voices of the 100 men, women, and children he had left behind. Instead, he found a profound, beautiful silence. As you walk with us through the abandoned settlement in your mind, notice the lack of struggle. The houses have been taken down with care, not burned or destroyed. The heavy chests and belongings have been moved. There is no sign of a battle, only the sign of a quiet departure. It is as if an entire village simply decided to stand up, breathe in the fresh forest air, and walk into the mist together. On one of the wooden posts of the palisade, a single word is carved in elegant, steady letters: Croatoan. It is not a cry for help. It is a signature. It is a destination. Think of the colonists for a moment. They had come from the crowded, noisy streets of London, a world of stone, coal smoke, and rigid rules. Here, on Roanoke Island, they found a primordial paradise. They found live oaks with limbs that twist like ancient dancers, draped in long, flowing tresses of Spanish moss that sway rhythmically in the breeze. They found a land where the soil was rich and the water was clear. Imagine the day they decided to leave. Perhaps the mist was just like it is tonight, thick, protective, and quiet. They looked at the dark, inviting wall of the forest and realized they no longer wanted to be colonists. They wanted to be part of the land. They wanted to blend into the shadows of the trees and the lives of the people who had lived here in harmony for thousands of years. Visualize them walking away from the wooden fort. They aren't running, they are strolling. They are carrying only what they need, leaving behind the heavy burdens of their past. As they step into the forest, the mist closes in behind them, wrapping them in a soft white cocoon. The trees seem to reach out to welcome them. The scent of the crushed ferns beneath their feet is intoxicating, earthy, green, and fresh. They didn't disappear, they merged. They walked toward Croatoan, now known as Hatteras Island, to join a people who understood the language of the wind and the tides. They traded their heavy woolens for soft deerskin. They traded the stress of a distant king for the wisdom of the seasons. Tonight, you can do the same. You can leave behind the settlement of your daily life, the walls you've built around your worries, the heavy chests of your responsibilities. You can stand up from your desk, your kitchen, your office, and simply walk into the mist of your imagination.
The mist of Roanoke is a sanctuary. It is a place where you are allowed to be lost to the world. In our modern age, we're always being tracked, always being found. But there is a deep soul-level comfort in the idea of being unreachable. There is freedom in the unknown. Feel the air on Roanoke Island now. It is perfectly still. The Spanish moss is hanging motionless from the trees, like silver tapestries in a grand natural hallway. The ground is soft and springy, a bed of pine needles and moss that invites you to lie down and listen to the whispers of the past. Listen to the trees. They are the same trees that watched the colonists pass by. They have long memories. They whisper in a language that isn't made of words, but of frequencies. Shh, let go. Shh, come home. The lost colony isn't lost at all. They are right there, in the DNA of the trees, in the rhythm of the waves, and in the quiet mist that returns every night to protect the island. They found a way to live forever by becoming part of the mystery. As you lie in your bed, imagine your own thoughts are like the people of Roanoke. They are leaving the fortress of your mind. They are walking into the soft gray fog of sleep. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to know where they are going. You only need to trust that the forest will take care of them. The word Croatoan is a lullaby. Say it slowly in your mind. Croatoan. It has a rhythmic, rolling quality, like the tide coming in. It is a word of belonging. It is a word that means the journey is over and the rest has begun. The island is fading now. The dark outlines of the live oaks are being swallowed by the white fog. The sound of the ocean is becoming more and more distant, a muffled, low-frequency pulse that matches the beating of your own heart. You are safe in the mist. No one can find you here. No worries can reach you through this thick, soft barrier. You are hidden in the folds of history, a guest in the most peaceful mystery of the Americas. The colonists found a new life by letting go of the old one. You are finding sleep by letting go of the day. The transition is easy. It is as natural as the mist settling over the water. Breathe in the scent of cedar and salt. Exhale the need to be found. In our final chapter, we will return to where we began, to the infinite quiet. We will take all the mysteries we have visited, the stones, the lights, the signals, and the ships, and weave them into a final blanket of rest. But for now, stay in the mist. Stay in the forest. The whispers are fading.
The village is empty. The mystery is complete. Sleep now, wanderer of Roanoke. You are home. You are hidden.
Good night. The journey is winding down now. The long, winding path we have walked through the corridors of time and the far-flung corners of the earth has led us back to this single, sacred moment of stillness. The mist of Roanoke, the hum of Taos, the dancing lights of Texas, and the silent giants of Rapa Nui. They are no longer separate places on a map. They have gathered here in the quiet theater of your mind to form a single, magnificent tapestry of the unknown. Take a long, slow breath in and let it out with a sigh that carries away the last remnants of the day. We began our journey by stepping away from the sharp, demanding light of knowing. In our modern world, we are taught that every mystery is a failure of information, that if we just had more data, more light, more technology, there would be no shadows left. But tonight, we have discovered a different truth. We have found that the shadows are where we belong. The shadows are where we rest. Imagine you are standing once more in that ancient library where we started, but now the candles have burned down to small, glowing embers. The books on the shelves are no longer objects to be studied, they are companions. You realize that the most precious volumes in this library are the ones with missing pages, the ones written in codes that no one can break, the ones that tell stories with no ending. Why do we find such peace in the unsolved? It is because an answer is a closed door. When a mystery is solved, it becomes a fact, hard, cold, and finished. But an unsolved mystery remains an open window. It is a space where the imagination can breathe. It is a reminder that the universe is larger than our ability to categorize it. There is a profound relief in admitting, I do not know. In those 3 words, the weight of the world is lifted from your shoulders. You are no longer the judge, the scientist, or the problem solver. You are simply a traveler, drifting on a vast, dark ocean of wonder. Think back through the gallery of wonders we have visited tonight. Recall the silent sentinels of Easter Island, their stone faces tilted toward the stars. They don't need us to know how they walked. They only ask us to feel the weight of their long, patient wait. Remember the coral castle where the heavy became light. You don't need to understand the magnetism to feel the rhythmic sway of the stone rocking chair. Think of the sailing stones, carving their signatures in the desert mud while the world sleeps. They move when no one is watching, a reminder that the earth has a life and a will that is entirely its own. Visualize the Voynich Manuscript with its garden of paper secrets. It is a book that refuses to be read, inviting you instead to simply look at the beauty of the loopy script and the imaginary flowers. It is a visual lullaby for a mind that is tired of processing information. Hear once more the music of the spheres, that 72-second wow from the stars. It was a cosmic whisper that came and went, leaving behind a silence that is deeper and more meaningful than any message could ever be. See the merry Celeste drifting on her glass-like sea.
She is the ultimate vessel of release, a ship that sailed herself into legend, proving that we can let go of the wheel and still be carried by the current of existence. Watch the Marfa Lights dance one last time on the horizon, soft peach-colored lanterns that remind us that the darkness is not a void, but a stage for the miraculous. Feel the cool, perfect roundness of the stone spheres of Costa Rica, the pearls of the earth that have no beginning and no end. They are the anchors of your sleep, solid and eternal. Listen to the hum of the earth, the low-frequency vibration that connects Taos to the rest of the world. It is the white noise of the planet, a grounding frequency that tells your body it is time to return to the soil. And finally, see the mist of Roanoke, where an entire colony found peace by becoming one with the forest. They didn't disappear, they transformed. All of these mysteries are threads in a single blanket, and that blanket is now being tucked around you. It is a blanket made of the infinite quiet. The infinite quiet is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of peace. It is the realization that the world is a safe place precisely because it is mysterious. If we knew everything, there would be no room for dreams. If every path was mapped, there would be no room for discovery. The unsolved is the garden where our souls go to play.
As you drift closer to the deep, dark waters of sleep, let the need for logic dissolve. Let the why and the how fade away like the morning mist. You are moving into a state of unknowing. This is the highest state of rest. In this state, you are not a name or a job or a list of tasks. You are a consciousness floating in a sea of velvet obsidian. The stars above are steady. The earth beneath is solid. The mysteries of history are guarding the gates of your rest. Imagine all the questions of the world as tiny glowing sparks rising from a campfire. They fly up into the night sky, drifting higher and higher until they blend in with the stars. They are no longer your questions. They belong to the universe now. The universe is vast enough to hold them. The universe is patient enough to keep them. Feel the heaviness in your limbs. Your legs are like the stone of the Moai, immovable and grounded. Your arms are like the branches of the live oaks in Roanoke, heavy, still, and draped in the soft moss of sleep. Your breath is the wow signal, a slow rising and falling wave of energy that connects you to the deep stars. Everything is unsolved, and everything is perfect. The infinite quiet is calling you now. It is a low, resonant frequency that vibrates in the center of your chest. It is the sound of a heart at peace. It is the sound of a mind that has finally laid down its tools. You are a pearl of the earth, perfectly round and perfectly still. You are a ship on a glass sea, drifting into the mist. You are a light on the horizon, flickering softly before fading into the night. The library is dark now. The books are closed. The secrets are safe. There is nothing left to say. There is nothing left to find. The mystery has become the dream, and the dream has become the sleep.
Breathe in the infinite. Exhale the finite. The silence is your sanctuary. The unknown is your home. In the quiet of the unsolved, find your rest. In the hush of the unexplained, find your peace. Sleep now. Drift into the quiet. Fade into the mystery. Sleep. Sleep. Good night.